Kai Latte. What's up, people? Piz out here, and today what I'm going to do is give you guys my favorite movies of 2014, but it's going to be a little more of a specific list than just my favorite movies of 2014. I'm showing up late to the party here, as is my custom. There were a few movies from 2014 that I wanted to see to potentially add to this list, but I'm only getting around to watching them now, and but I'm glad, a couple of them I'm glad that I did, because I am going to add them to this list. And this isn't going to be like some of the other lists that I've done, year-end lists, in the past. I'm going to make this one a little more specific to just horror movies. So these are going to be my favorite horror movies of 2014, because if you guys are familiar with my channel or familiar with the Sausage Factory, you probably know, I mean, I've talked a lot about Guardians of the Galaxy, how much I think that's just been my overall favorite movie of 2014. Godzilla, which I liked a lot. Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, which I liked a lot. There were some other movies thrown in there. If you guys didn't see the 2014 year-end review show that we did on the Sausage Factory, I'll put a link to that in the description. Check it out. That was a lot of fun. I go a lot more in depth on some, just my favorite in general movies of the year of 2014. This is going to be just my favorite horror movies of 2014, and of course 2014 was really not a huge standout year for horror movies. We had a lot of we really didn't have a lot of theatrical horror movies, but a lot of the horror movies that we got, one way or the other, were just really superficial, boo scare, stinger on the soundtrack type movies, and I've talked about them a lot in a lot of different places about how much I hate those movies. So these are movies, and I've kind of had to expand a little bit. Some of these are definite horror movies. Some of these are kind of genre-bending movies that have horror or supernatural elements, and I'm going to throw in because I really like them, and I think you guys should watch them irregardless. So I'll go ahead and I'll start with a movie that I want to give an honorable mention to, which is a movie that I just saw very recently called Where, which is a werewolf movie, and actually a pretty good werewolf movie. I know, wow, a pretty good werewolf movie. There's not a lot of those, and that's why I wanted to throw it onto this list, at least give it an honorable mention. It was released in 2014. It's a werewolf movie, and it's a pretty good werewolf movie. I enjoyed it. Kind of an understated kind of werewolf movie, and therefore a little more of a realistic kind of werewolf movie, I guess. As realistic as a werewolf movie can kind of get, I should say. But I did really enjoy it. If you guys are werewolf movie fans and you haven't seen Where, you should definitely check it out. Like I said, pretty darn good. If you're somebody like me who, you like werewolf movies, but there's just so few good ones out there, definitely check out Where. Or even if you're someone who's just given up on that subgenre entirely, Where is definitely something that you should check out. I did like it quite a bit. So I'll dive into my list, and really only the last two are going to be in any kind of order. The rest of these are just good horror movies that I saw this year. The first one is a movie called Happy Camp, a really micro budget movie about a guy and his friends. He returns home to his hometown. They're shooting this documentary about the town, and it's a weird little town where people disappear a lot. As a matter of fact, the young guy's younger brother disappeared when they were kids, and as they progress through the making of this documentary and trying to uncover why so many people seem to be disappearing from this town, it just gets more twisted and more suspenseful and more intense, and I really liked this movie a lot. It was actually produced by Drew Barrymore. It was available either on Netflix or Hulu Plus. I don't remember which one, but that's where I saw it. So check Hulu Plus, check Netflix if you can find it. Happy Camp, absolutely check it out. Like I said, really, really liked it. Don't want to give too much away about really what's going on, but like I said, as they get deeper and deeper into the story, more things start to unravel, and there's a terrible secret in the town. And there's a really effective sequence where they're walking through the town at night, and the town is just absolutely deserted. No one on the streets, no one in stores. The sheriff's office is just wide open but totally deserted. There's just nobody there. Really, really good movie. Liked it a lot. Definitely check it out. Happy Camp. Next up is a movie that I actually watched last night, and I was very, very surprised with how much I liked it, and that is The Taking of Deborah, Logan. It's a found footage meets possession kind of movie. Both those being very popular gimmicks, or sort of, I think they're kind of at the tail end of their popularity, both gimmicks. Really, but done really well. And they did something with The Taking of Deborah, Logan that they don't do really in either with found footage movies or really with possession movies. Both of those kinds of movies, to me, feel very locked down, very insular. That's like one location. And it's not that they do that, you know, to create like a sense of claustrophobia, like Alien necessarily. They do that because the budget only will pay for basically one location. It's an easy way to cut the budget. We just shoot it in a house. With The Taking of Deborah, Logan, they open it up. They open it up to the entire community. They introduce new characters as the movie goes on, and that added a real sense of realism. Well, realism in a found footage movie. We don't get that very often. We got that here. The actress who plays Deborah Logan, phenomenal performance. Phenomenal performance. Again, a documentary crew. They're shooting a documentary about Alzheimer's disease. Deborah Logan is in the early stages of Alzheimer's disease. As the story progresses, more and more weird things start to occur. We start to wonder, is it the disease that's causing her to do this, or is there a more sinister, more sinister force at hand here? And I really, really like the movie. Very suspenseful. Some really nice, intense sequences in the movie. The kind of movie you just kind of want to sit down in a room, turn out all the lights, and just watch. I really dug it. I highly recommend it. It is still available to watch on Netflix now, so definitely go check it out. Really enjoyed The Taking of Deborah, Logan. Really, really solid movie. Next movie I want to talk about is one that I reviewed that I really liked, called Horns. Go check out that review for a more in-depth review of the movie. Daniel Radcliffe. It's a murder mystery, detective story, supernatural, horror, love story, all wrapped up into this film, and it all works, and it's super ambitious. Directed by Alexander Aja, of course, who did High Tension, who did Piranha 3D, the Hills Have Eyes remake. Really, really good movie based on a book by Joe Hill, who is Stephen King's son, which I'm really interested in checking that book out now. I've heard the book is really good. Yeah, really, really, really was impressed with Horns. Like I said, super ambitious, really good movie. If you haven't seen Horns, definitely check it out. Really enjoyed that movie a lot. Great flick, and check out my full review of the movie as well. Next, another one. Did a full review of, again, not necessarily a horror movie, but definitely a supernatural kind of movie. Under the Skin, starring Scarlett Johansson. Really, a really just a genre-defying movie, and kind of a plot-defying movie too. Just really a really quiet, subtle, understated kind of film that just works really well. Scarlett Johansson says very little in the film, but her performance is just absolutely mesmerizing. Don't want to go too deep into the plot to give too much away. Great movie. Did a full review of it. Go check that out for a more in-depth review of Under the Skin. But I really loved it. I was really surprised by the film. I highly, highly recommend it. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. And these will be the last two. The next film will be number 2, and then the one following it will be my number 1 favorite horror movie of the year. Both of them, of course, I did full reviews of. But at number 2, Oculus. I really liked Oculus a lot. I was really surprised with Oculus. The kind of movie where even in the end, I mean, you're not sure, is it personal demons that has affected and kind of destroyed this family, the demons of, you know, mental health problems, or is it actual demons, supernatural, evil demons that has destroyed this family in the film. And I just really like that about it. Again, suspenseful, intense, no boo scares, no, stingers on the soundtrack, not those kind of scares. A much deeper sort of psychological, scares. And I really appreciated that because, like I said, we got so few of those movies this year. So many horror movies are about the boo scare or about, the stinger on the... It's not even... It's the soundtrack that's scaring you. It's not the movie itself or anything that's going on in the movie. They turn down all the other audio, it gets really quiet, and then all of a sudden, bam, here's the stinger, and it's usually accompanied by a fake scare, and it's just... Yeah, you jump, but then you're over it. It's not the kind of thing that you're gonna, those moments before you fall asleep at night. You're in that kind of clear-headed state and you sort of remember, maybe I should, you get that kind of creepy feeling and you're thinking about, a movie like Oculus or a movie like the next film that I'm going to talk about. That's, it's instilled this sort of dread inside you. This creepy feeling that's just sort of followed you away from the movie. And I really liked Oculus for that, and I really appreciated the fact that they went deeper than just, this mirror's haunted and, demons are coming out of it or whatever. The spirits of its past victims are coming out of it to haunt this family, blah, blah, blah. They could have just done that, and it could have just been your stereotypical, boo scare, spook house, cheap, superficial. Could have just been Annabelle. Or it could have just been Ouija. But they went deeper, and I really appreciated that with Oculus. I really liked Oculus a lot. And my number one favorite horror movie of 2014, hands down, has got to be The Babadook. And The Babadook, I was talking to someone about it the other day, and they finally watched it. And they said, I really liked it a lot, but I think it's been just way, way overhyped. And I agree. At this point, it kind of is really overhyped because it's one of those movies that people, especially in the horror community, if there's even a decent horror movie, I think that's how sort of starved and deprived we are, even for pretty good horror movies, that when we get one, we just sort of run to the mountaintop and just, cry out and tell everyone what an awesome film it is and that you have to see it. And that sort of carries over into when people see it, it becomes more and more overhyped. And I kind of agree. But I also think The Babadook is a really good movie. When I first saw The Babadook, it was sort of before the hype train really happened. And maybe I helped lend to that hype train a little bit because I gave it a very, very positive review. I really liked the movie a lot. But I don't think I overhyped it. I think I gave it a very, a very appropriate review. And again, just like Oculus, a much deeper psychological horror. Is this the horror of an actual, supernatural being that's tormenting you? Or is this the horror of you being tormented by your own mind and by, your own sense of loss and loneliness and desperation and dread and feelings of just helplessness? Is that what, these people are being haunted by, this single mother and her child? And just a great film. I thought it was really well written, really well made. Some great suspenseful sequences in the film. The actress, the star of the film, just a phenomenal performance. Her name eludes me at the moment. I talk about her a lot in my standalone review, which you guys should definitely check out for a more in-depth review of The Babadook. Just a phenomenal performance from her. Just a really great movie, I thought. If you're kind of... if you're a little pessimistic about The Babadook because, you've been burnt by really overhyped movies, which I have too. I mean, I think we all have, by really overhyped movies, and you're kind of like, I don't know if I want to watch it or not, and so on and so forth. Check it out. Don't really walk into it with any kind of preconceived notions or expectations. I had no idea what I was walking into with The Babadook. I refused to read any reviews. I refused to even watch the trailer. And I was really, really taken with the film and really, really pleasantly surprised with the movie. And I think The Babadook is the total antithesis of what we get with a lot of theatrical horror movies these days. Like I said, and I've talked about it again and again, the superficial boo scare, stinger on the soundtrack. The Babadook is the total antithesis of that. It's deep psychological. It's more subtle. It's the kind of thing, like I said, with Oculus. You're going to bed at night and you get to that moment just before you're about to fall asleep and your mind is clear and you have, that chill kind of runs up your spine and you're looking toward the corner to see if the Babadook is standing there. Yeah, I just really like the movie a lot. I think it's my favorite horror film of 2014. Like I said, I think it's the antithesis of a lot of, really just cheap, superficial horror movies that we've been getting a lot here lately. And it was definitely a movie that I wanted to recommend and just have people watch because it's the kind of horror film that we don't get very often. So anyway, let me know what you guys thought. If you guys have seen any of those movies, please let me know what you think of them in the comment section below. If you have your own favorite horror movies of 2014 list, please share with me. If there were any great horror films from 2014 that I didn't mention on this list that maybe I didn't see, that you want to share with me, that you want to recommend, absolutely do so. Also in the comment section below, you get another sip of this Kai Latte. Man, that's good Kai Latte. Oh, good stuff. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys have a great 2015. I don't know if I want to really talk about movies that I'm looking forward to in 2015 in this video. Might save that for another video. But I'm definitely looking forward to a lot more movies in 2015 than I was in 2014. So I'm hoping that 2015 will be just a nice little rebound in films overall, and maybe even some better horror films in 2015 as well. Fingers crossed. Anyway, until next time, you guys take it easy. Have a good one. Peace.